So the aerial view as the V8 field out getting warmed up, ready for the start of the first of the Parker Enzed V8 races here today. There's Kane Scott in the super cheap car. Now we're on board with him, getting some warmth in his tyres, starting off fourth, of course.
Favourite with the drivers of this track, really technical. Here we are with Mark Pedersen again, just getting some heat into those tyres. Qualified fifth and got it all to do in front of him. One of the stars of last season here, Clark Proctor, he's qualified in 12th place.
Yes, Michael Tom, though, well back down the field this time, had a good last round, but way back in 29th. And here is the start grid. On pole position, of course, John McIntyre in the Ford, alongside of him, Wade Henshaw. Then it's Andy Booth and Kane Scott in fourth.
Mark Pedersen has his Ford Falcon in 5th place, alongside him Paul Manuel in his Commodore, Andrew Fawcett 7th, Shane Drake 8th.
Occupying the 5th row of the grid are Ford teammates Angus Fogg 9th and Paul Pedersen 10th. Then the Fords of Jared Carlisle and Clark Proctor on the next row.
Adam Brook has his Ford in 13th place, alongside him Damon Templeman, Brady Kennett in 15th and Craig Boots 16th.
In 17th, it's Andy Anderson and his Commodore, alongside Dale Lambert, with Kevin Williams and Dean Perkins behind them.
Nick Ross in 21st place, alongside him the Ford of Hayden McKenzie, Pete Roberts in 23rd, Michael Wallace 24th.
In 25th place, it's Grant Shivers with Dean McMillan alongside him. Then it's Cam Hardy and Darren Henderson.
Michael Tom back down in 29th place, alongside him Mike Perro, Julia Hussif 31st and David Parsons 32nd.
And in the last two rows of the grid, it's Miles Worsley starting 33rd alongside Mark Wootton, then Joe Farram and Martin Hicks on the last row. So the field being brought around the last turn onto the front straight. Safety car about to pull into pit lane. Great aerial pictures we have here. Johnny McIntyre out to get a win this time. Try to get his title chances back on track and try to do something about Wade Henshaw's runaway lead at the moment. But of course Henshaw's sitting right there. Good spot right alongside of him. So he's keeping a very close watching brief. Just got to stay out of trouble. Good run there from Kane Scott, pulling out from behind Henshaw. Oh, Andy Booth running down the inside of Henshaw, and a big lock up from Kane Scott. Went in quite deep there. And the field streaming through. Looks like not much trouble at all. Amazing.
Good manners so far, but unaccustomed to what we're used to here. That looks like Michael Tom off to the outside of the track there. This is on board with David Parsons.
Yes, there was inevitable. Someone came to grief. 36 cars funneled down into a little corner. Doesn't usually work too well. But look at John McIntyre, really getting a nice little edge already on the field.
You see there, you see Mark Pedersen just down the inside. But look at these guys here, 3-4 wide in places.
Down through the hairpin, it's tight here. This is David Parsons' view of things down the back. Martin Hicks gets loose on the outside in the white Commodore, so he loses a couple of places. But the fight for fourth at the moment. Kane Scott taking a lot of pressure from Mark Pedersen and a lot of others behind.
This is a view out of our championship leader's car. Wade Henshaw in second place, well clear of all the scraps behind at this point.
Yes, Andy Booth sitting in the next spot. Oh, a bit of a tag there on the back of Scott by the look of it. And Pedersen down the inside. Well, maybe he got tagged. Maybe he just moved on the bumps there, just on the entry to Dunlop.
Yeah, it looked like Kane Scott just got a bit unsettled under brakes, and Mark Pedersen just took advantage of that, getting down the inside. But look at the speed from Kane Scott down the outside. Here's a different view of the start on board here from the bumper cam of Shane Drake in 8th place on the grid and getting a good clear look down the outside here. Oh, a bit of a lock up there from Kane Scott. Getting what? He's got to be careful he doesn't get squeezed here on the exit of the corner. But no, so far so good.
Yes, just tucks in behind Paul Manuel. Here's the view from 17th on the grid. Andy Anderson's perspective, right behind Brady Kennett. That's Craig Boot giving Kennett the squeeze. Gets the place away from him. Look at Dean Perkins in the GT Radial Falcon around the outside of both of them. Well, maybe not Boot.
There's a view from Dean Perkins, slingshotting around the outside. Oh, careful, Lambert just moves over on him. Now to the inside. Look how tight it is up front there. But look at him thread the needle down to the outside now. What a great start from Perkins.
Getting in behind Danum Templeman in the number 9 car right ahead of him there. That is good ground he's made up straight off the line.
But look how busy it is. These guys so tight. The manners have definitely improved after the last few rounds, after the comings together. Let's see if they can keep it together for the race.
Here the boys. Oh, why we spoke too soon. Danum Templeman cops a hit from Dean Perkins that sends him wide. Meantime, back with the race action. Big fight going on for 5th place. Oh, the curb cam shows them whipping across the top there. Kane Scott versus Paul Manuel versus Shane Drake.
And Shane Drake getting the better run out of the hairpin there down the inside. Just behind those guys, this is Clark Proctor. Taking a little bit of a look down the inside here of Andrew Fawcett. Andrew just covering that line, heading into Higgins here. But down the inside. If he can hold in there, and he does it. Down the inside past him. Now get the exit out here, holding up high. Great move.
That puts him right in behind Paul Pedersen, and he's tracking this long line of cars here. Big fight still going on. Drake, he actually didn't get past Manuel. He gets into the side of him now, though, as he dives on underneath him. Pretty questionable move there, probably, by Drake.
Yeah, double apex that corner, but look at here's Proctor coming down the inside as well, taking advantage of that situation. A replay on board with Drake here of that incident with Manuel, and just down the inside, tried to force the gap and really wasn't quite there, I don't think.
No, Manuel did seem to move out a little bit, maybe caught on those bumps that moved him sideways, did open up a gap there.
It's the nature of that sort of corner, you go in wide and cut in there, but hey, it's racing and there's going to be some touching for sure here.
Here's Proctor versus Fawcett. Proctor, of course, got past him, but Fawcett trying to get back at him straight away.
Yes, Fawcett after his accident at Timaru, just his first meeting back, and qualified well.
Good fights going on here. Another one, you see the red and white car of Jared Carlisle on the left, trying to make the pass, and looks like he's got through there on Angus Fogg.
Yes, Angus Fogg, another guy that's been in the wars and working hard to stay up with the front runners today.
So there's the field strung out behind McIntyre. Henshaw second, Booth in third, then Mark Pedersen. Kane Scott next, still ahead of Shane Drake and Paul Pedersen.
Out the back of Dean Perkins' car here, backing around about 13th place. We're more accustomed to see Dean up the front of the field, but I'm sure he'll fight back from back here.
And right behind him is the man that he elbowed aside early on in the race, Danum Templeman, closing in on him still.
These two guys in the meantime having a great battle, Andrew Fawcett and Clark Proctor. Proctor, the stock car man, doing a better job this weekend, has struggled with speed and form so far this season, but looking a lot sharper.
Oh, look at this big fight going on. Adam Brook gets hit. Well, that's Carlisle involved and Angus Fogg. Not sure who it was. I think it might have been Fogg that touched him, but they were three wide diving into the hairpin, and something had to give, and it was Adam Brook.
Here's the replay on board with Dean Perkins. See the Angus Fogg down the inside. That's Carlisle coming across, touching him. Oh, it looks like Carlisle was the one that nudged Brook around.
Here's Andy Anderson's view of it from just a little bit further back in behind. Brady Kennett has to swerve to the right to avoid those cars. Now hits right in the door of the 06 car of Kennett.
Here's the aerial shot. You can see Brook already turned round there. Poor old Anderson, he's staying wide and just gets pushed straight off the track. Nowhere to go.
Yes, and I have to apologise to Fogg. Of course, he was the innocent victim in that. But look at this big fight. That's Cam Hardy gets hit by Pete Roberts, who got hit by Darren Henderson. And that takes them all off. And Adam Brook got caught out as well. So 4 cars out in one fell swoop. No surprises, the safety car is going to be called out to put things under control. And look at Cam Hardy's car. He was the innocent victim.
Let's take a look at the replay on board here with Michael Tom looking forward. Henderson gets hits right up the back of Pete Roberts, who in turn hits Cam Hardy. And of course, concertina effect, nowhere to go.
Andy Anderson in the pit lane. That's the damage done in that hit on Brady Kennett. And Adam Brook now making his recovery. So another innocent victim there. And look at the damage on his car. He's been in the wars so far in this race. Miles Worsley in the pit lane as well. And our Heli Pro aerial camera platform awaiting the restart. Three laps to run in this race, 10-lapper, and John McIntyre having to do the job again as the race gets restarted after a safety car period. The result of a 4-car prang down at this turn 1 that John McIntyre now leads the field through.
Yes, John McIntyre put up a handy lead in that first part of the race and has had to really go out and do it all over again.
Doesn't seem like he has any problem though. Look at the power on that Tracer Falcon just pulling away there from Wade Henshaw in the second spot. Andy Booth, the defending champ, just gives a bit of a bump into the back of Henshaw's car.
Yes, Booth giving us a good example of using the camber of the Manfeild track, quite unique to this circuit, and something where the setup of the cars is so important just to get that slingshot out of the corners.
Well, he didn't make any ground out of that. Henshaw hangs on to the second place. Kane Scott back in fourth. Shane Drake in fifth. Under attack from Paul Pedersen.
As Paul Pedersen gets down the inside of Shane Drake, again using that camber down the inside and slingshotting out of Higgins.
There's Drake's view of things. He won't be too happy with that, losing a place after lots of hard work in the opening stages. And now it's Andrew Fawcett coming down the inside of him. He's got him as well. So maybe Drake is in trouble. Here's the bumper cam view from the power-built Falcon coming down the front straight. What is going on here?
Well, Shane Drake wasn't happy about Fawcett getting past. He's taking another look down the inside. He's got the inside line here. Should be able to hold on. But here comes Manuel down the inside.
Manuel! Oh, straight into the side of Drake. Well, we saw the two get together. Look at this. This is a multi-car pile-up that's been caused here now.
Oh, the track's getting blocked up completely here.
Unbelievable stuff. I mean, Manuel was coming like gangbusters down the inside, and all I remember is that, of course, Drake got him earlier. Is this tit for tat or what?
Well, here's a look from Shane Drake's point of view. Bumper cam coming in nice and easy, doing it right, bang, in the side of Pedersen. And that was because of the impact from Manuel.
Now look at all the mayhem behind. Cars diving every which way because they're suddenly confronted with about 3 cars stopped in the middle of the track. Meantime, up front, Johnny McIntyre got less than a lap to run now to the finish line. Very, very cool man. But look behind, big battle going on. It's Booth putting the moves on Henshaw, trying an outside-inside move. The last time into Higgins.
And Booth down the inside, using that banking. Henshaw hung out to dry here. Can he hang on? Look at the side-by-side down the back straight.
Well, the view from on board Henshaw tells the story as they dive into the last corner. Booth has cut through on him. I wonder if Wade Henshaw just decided it wasn't worth pushing the point to the nth degree and risking going off.
But Johnny McIntyre, convincing victory on the first race from the Manfeild meeting, and he's happy about it too.
Kane Scott in the background just saw him coming in 4th, and Perkins is going to get 5th just ahead of Proctor Fawcett. And Jared Carlisle, I think. That's a good run from him.
Johnny McIntyre, though, his championship now back on track after his off in Teretonga. A great performance from him. Andrew Anderson with an unhappy gesture there for Kennett after his coming together during the race.
Johnny made a great start and pretty much able to control the race.
Yeah, well, I had a lot of pressure really to win that race. We've tested here before and we were really quick and we got pole yesterday, so I'm more relieved than happy actually that I did it because the car's so good. It'd be really awful if I didn't win that one really.
Andy, you challenged Wade a couple of times, finally got him on the last lap.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. For a guy that told me he was going to be conservative to try and win the championship, Wade was racing pretty hard. It was a hell of a lot of fun.
Wade, there was a lot of pressure from Andy Booth and he finally got you in the end?
Yeah, he did, but unfortunately we had no clutch, so I did probably the last half of the race. I was pushing it, but I wasn't actually doing anything, so it makes it awful hard to drive, especially on the down change. So it was gathering me up on the brakes, which good on him. He drove well, and we still got a good point. So I think he might have taken 2 points off me. So yeah, we'll change the clutch and we'll race him in the next one.
Kane, you settled into 4th place pretty early on. You weren't able to advance from there?
Well, I was trying. I certainly gave it my all. You know, those boys just a little faster than us this morning, but we're going to do some fettling now and we'll see what we can make of it.
Dean, you're smiling again.
Yeah, it's been a long time since we've had a good run like that, so we're really pleased. The GT Falcon went really well, and from 20th to 5th, I think we've got to be pleased with that.
One of those cases you've got to take your chances when they're presented, and the plan was to follow Paul Pedersen through early and then see what became of the race. And once again, a few guys pushing a little bit hard, they all sort of came to grief and fell off. So got to be really, really happy with our progress this weekend.
Shane, that was a pretty eventful race. The boys are busy beating out the battle scars.
Yeah, just fortunately got caught up and had a bit of stuff out there, which is a bit of a shame given our position. But that's the way it finished, so can't turn back the clock. But
yeah, mate, we've broken the whole front suspension linkages and strut, upright, steering arm, you name it, she's broken. We got a push. We got 4 pushes actually from behind going down the straight there. And it felt like I was trying to stop 2 cars with only my brakes, which made it pretty difficult. And unfortunately, Adam Brook ended up taking a fairly big hit from me.
I don't know what these idiots are on about, but they used me as a brake and they had no intention of stopping, so that's what happens.
The strapping systems car went really well, but the road was just really, you had to pick your lines of where you had to go, or else it was going to be carnage out there. Sometimes the track was totally blocked.
A couple of gaps opened up in front of you?
Yeah, the Dale Lambert in front of me went to the left, and it turned out to be the right decision. We got a clean run through and made up about 10 spots in one incident. So from 19th to 12th, we were really happy with that and with the car.
Darren, there was quite a lot of drama in that race. Your team's one of the ones that's fairly busy here.
Yeah, there was a little bit of argy-bargy in the race as usual, but I just came on the back end of it and just sort of got caught up in it all, and ended up in the kitty litter out in the track. So one of those things. We're having a good race up till then.
Confirming then John McIntyre's 3rd win of the series, Andy Booth in 2nd place, then Wade Henshaw 3rd.
Kane Scott in 4th, followed by Dean Perkins 5th and Clark Proctor 6th.
In 7th place, it's Andrew Fawcett, ahead of Jared Carlisle and Mark Pedersen.
Angus Fogg comes in 10th, followed by Danham Templeman and Dale Lambert in 12th.